sounds hard to do. So I went out that night, and T took me down to the gas station, 7-Eleven, and I was walking back because he had to go somewhere, and that dog bit me after I tried to get that girl out of the street. And so the dog bit me, and everyone that might have had any sort of knowledge about the dog was had departed. And so I was just walking back to the bootleg gas station, and I mean I lived close to there, so it wasn't like I wasn't walking to the bootleg gas station because it was out of my way, but it was closer to my current situation than the apartment I lived in. That would have taken another 4 or 5 minutes or whatever. And so, I mean, it's bleeding pretty bad. I don't know. I don't like blood, so maybe it's not that bad. I mean, I don't think if I had been in combat, they would have sent me back to the front lines or whatever. But the dog got me pretty good, and I've got a phone on me, but I just out of my, I don't know. You know, I used to go abroad and do dumb things. Well, you know, I go abroad and do dumb things, but I mean, I don't know if I ever had a cell phone that would connect me to other people. My whole point is I didn't have like the equivalent of 911. I didn't think it was a 911 thing, but if I needed help as I'm walking back, and it's funny because I walk past, this is so off the topic, but I mean, I'll never say it again, so I just want to say it real quick. I walked past that pharmacy, like I said in the previous post, and it was closed. And then it was funny, I don't know any of the people in there, but there was this one place I ate, and I don't know, this was only like 2 blocks from the gas station. And it was, man, they had such good food. I didn't eat a lot of places because, I mean, if you don't speak Thai, you know, I'm not going to get into it, but you're not necessarily considered front of the line or whatever. But this place, I don't know, for whatever reason, the owner or the women that worked there liked me or whatever. And it was just funny because, I mean, their food was so good. But when you walk by, they have like display windows showing, you know, what's today's fare. And it was not at all unusual. I mean, because I walked past there more than I ate there, but I ate there. And it was not unusual to see like these trails of tiny ants, like meandering through like the rice piles and the, you know, whatever. I mean, just the food. They were just wandering around the food. I didn't look that close. I looked close enough. They're tiny ants. I can see them because I'm looking. But, I mean, they weren't like eating the food, but they were just like running around on the plates that these dishes were, you know, being displayed on. It was funny. And it was funny because my favorite dish there, and I'd eaten there like 5 times or something, and there's a loud truck. Man, that's a big old truck. That looks like a truck that rescued my my truck from Lake Texoma. Man, that's a long fucking story. So I walked past that place. Oh, right, because it was just funny because my favorite dish there, it turned out my friend T, like the 4th time I had it or something, he was with me, and it was so good, and I was eating it. It came with rice, but I was eating it like soup. And he's like, you should put it's not soup. You should put it on the rice, and then it's like, you know, the meal or whatever. And I mean, that's fine. You know, I don't think anybody really cared. But anyway, and then I walked past there, and there was only like 2 ladies in there cleaning up or whatever. I don't know anybody in there. They don't know me. So I walked past with my bleeding leg. And then over on the left side, right before I turned the corner to go to the bootleg gas station, this doesn't matter anyway, but in times previous, I guess it's all about initiative and ambition or necessity, but there were a few times that I was really hungry at night I don't. I mean, a grocery store or whatever. 7-Eleven was down there, but they were closed. And so there's the other guy, and then the only thing I can say, literally the only thing I can say about him, I know he was elderly. I have no idea his age. I don't know anything about him, but he stood underneath the awnings of this street corner at which I was turning right to go to the gas station. And it was just so weird. He was just like a shrouded figure late in the night, and there was nothing else to eat. But he stood. He had a kettle like he worked for Salvation Army or something, and it had this kind of stew. And I have no idea. I never even talked to my friends about it. I mean, maybe I said I bought stew off of that dude or whatever, but I have no idea what was in it. I used to eat meat back then, so I mean, wasn't as risky. But it was just weird because he wasn't there during the day. He wasn't even there at dusk. He just was like the night salesman when even all the street carts had departed for the evening to go back to their good families. And he would come out and sell this stuff. He just put it in a plastic bag that was meant to be eaten out of. So anyway, that was always a funny guy. There's a store next to the place where he stood that has another store, but I won't tell you about that. So in fact, the whole point is I'm just trying to wrap this up. Oh, it's already 7 minutes. So I have my cell phone, but I don't know 911. I don't think I need 911, but I need something. I need a bandage or, something. And so I make it back to the bootleg gas station. And I didn't even know. I'm sorry. I don't know his name, real or English fake. Maybe I used to, but the father of the children and the owner of the gas station and motorcycle repair shop. I walked up, and I mean, he didn't speak English, and I don't, so. But I was wearing shorts, and I just lifted, my shorts up, and I was like, this is, and he was such a nice guy. He was so accommodating. I'm sure he was a good husband and a good father, but, understandably, we didn't, other than him accommodating me and allowing me to participate in his life, which, I mean, that's all right. I mean, it's kind of a two-way street, right? I mean, you allow me to participate in it. But, and I didn't know he had a cell phone because in the past, and maybe his cell phone was not as good as mine, which would be shocking because mine was about as cheap as you could buy. But I would let his son use my cell phone. I guess I had like 2 games on it. I don't even know what the games were. I don't know. You press the arrows up and down, and maybe it was like Mario Brothers or something. I have no fucking idea. But anyway, I didn't know he had a cell phone. I'd never seen him use it, receive it, anything. And he looked at my leg and he motioned for me to sit down, ironically, on like one of the 2 plastic chairs that I always sat down on. And he went back and he comes out and he's got the cell phone in his hand and he's making a call. And, I'm kind of motioning with my hands because I don't want like the army or, I don't know what he's doing, but it was weird. And the story would be more interesting if the same guy that had taken me in his custom van to that nudity karaoke thing with the family, but it wasn't him, but it was another guy. It was like a friend of his. It was so weird because that bootleg gas station, I mean, everybody there was just poverty stricken, but then you'd walk up for the evening and there'd be like multiple vans that I don't know how much, I don't even see them here. I'm sure here that was a $50,000 van. And so he makes this phone call and he's like, well, he didn't say sit. I mean, that's what I took from it. And like 10 minutes later, the other guy, I can't remember his name either. You saw that guy's photograph in a earlier post, like anyone gives a shit. But, so he pulls up and looks at me and he's got such a fancy van. And the bootleg gas station guy didn't have any, gauze or anything. I think he gave me his shirt, right? I don't know why I couldn't have just used my own shirt. It wasn't that bad at that point, but I mean, it really freaking hurt. And it was, I mean, it's still, blood is not stopped. So he gets me and he puts me, and it's weird. Yeah, it's, I wish it was like his passenger seat in the front has a cover on it, but I don't think that was for me. Right? It was just like I don't know. I've never been in that guy's, but he takes me over to the hospital. One of them, it's like 20 minutes or something with traffic. Ironically, we go slow so we don't hit a girl that I rescued that caused me to get a dog bite. He takes me over to the hospital and parks in front, and it's weird because I had been at that hospital before, but I don't remember why. Like it was familiar to me. I knew when we got to the intersection that it was going to be like a 90-second timer on it and stuff, and I knew the grounds, but I don't remember why. I mean, I hadn't been in the hospital, so I don't know why I would have remembered that. But I knew the hospital by memory. So he goes up there. I don't know how parking works, but it goes up to hey, holy shit, or we need attention, hospital or whatever, parking. He walks in, and I don't know what he says to them, but he probably just says, like, this is this guy, and a dog bit him. I'm sure everyone at that point knew that a dog, I never communicated with the locals exactly what had happened with words, but I'm sure I made I explained. Either they just knew what dog bites looked like, or I was successful in explaining what happened. But he took me in there and explained, like, this is this guy, and he's got a dog bite or whatever. And I don't know if he stayed around or not, to be honest with you. I mean, they took me back and they gave me like 2 shots. I don't know if it was rabies. Rabies, I think, is supposed to go in your stomach or something. That's what always scared the shit out of me. I almost had a nervous breakdown when I was a child because I had a hamster, and the hamster bit me. And I guess I had misunderstood, and I thought all animals had rabies. So, or certainly a hamster. So if a hamster bites you, it's got rabies, and now I have rabies. And I went to my mom, and I was like, I'm sure I was crying or whatever. I was like, oh man, I got the rabies, because they said you have to get a shot in your stomach, and it's like the worst thing you ever had or whatever. But I went in there, and they took me back to the, I don't know, the ER, whatever. They took you back. It didn't work like that. There's just, curtains and stuff. And they put like, I don't know. It wasn't much. I don't want to exaggerate. I don't know how many. Maybe like 5 staples. It wasn't stitches. It was staples. And they're like, well, we just want to, we're going to keep you for a couple hours. We're going to hydrate you, which probably made sense because I probably hadn't had water in a day or whatever, but, and just make sure you don't have a, reaction to the shots or whatever. So they put me up on like the 4th floor. This is almost done. They put me up on the top floor of this hotel and keep me, by the time I get there and get into the room, it's probably 2 a.m. or something. And they keep me for like 4 or 5 hours. And it's dawn until someone comes and says, okay, you can go or whatever. And so I go, and I didn't have to pay. They didn't bill me at the time, and I never paid because I didn't get a bill. I don't know what the deal with that was. I guess, I wouldn't have gotten billed because I lived at a place that didn't have an address. Like literally, I didn't have an address.